don't know. What do you have thoughts about it? What are your thoughts about it?
Well said. Hello and welcome to Flappity Flap Podcast. This is your hosts. This am your hosts, Brandon and Sarah.
Nice. Nicely done.
Thanks.
You got a great radio voice.
Thanks.
I'm glad we've got you here. I'm glad we were able to...
For that only reason.
Get you for... Yeah. Never mind the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know...
This is my purpose. I'm serving my purpose.
I was playing a long game, long con, just to get you here as my co-host for the podcast. So I've been stooping you.
Wow.
For 5+ years.
You normally don't, clue in who you're conning.
Well, now I've got you. I mean,
well,
you can't leave.
I'm done. It's over.
But you're in a contract.
No, what? I didn't sign anything.
I'm just kidding. We got a ring. All right, enough shenanigans. That's, we've hit the 1 minute mark.
Oh, so have we already? Holy crap.
Already? Time flies.
Time does fly.
You're talking gibberish.
Mm-hmm. So what are we doing today? What is on the agenda?
Well, we've spent all day drywalling, insulating, mostly drywalling, screwing in drywall, putting drywall, priming drywall. There's a lot of drywall involved. I don't know if I mentioned that.
All walls, all the talls.
So, before I hit the wall, the proverbial wall, because I feel like I'm going to do that right after we finish recording. I'm going to go night-night.
Oh, yeah? It's only 7-ish.
Don't rat me out like that.
Don't out us.
It's 7:45, so you round up to 8.
So it's only
basically.
8.
It was a long day, okay? I don't do manual labor. I hurt. My back hurts.
Does it?
Yeah. I think it's because I'm drinking a lot of caffeine again. I think it makes my back hurt. I woke up with my back hurting, so I can't really blame the drywalling and the painting, but I'm gonna. Done. I've done it. Anyway, so it might be a nice break.
But you didn't do any drywalling.
Fuck off.
But it's true. You.
That's so rude.
Not you
it's
just.
It's like a team effort. I was supporting you in the drywalling, and then I did the puttying. And
you did the puttying, yeah. You did a lot. You did a good job.
You're pointing out that I didn't do the heavy work.
I was just thinking, it's not heavy work. It's just different work.
I just didn't think you were that kind of guy.
Petty.
Yeah. God knows I've done it to you enough times, so I guess you're due.
That's true.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
There's a lot. You're tired. You must be tired.
I'm not tired.
Ah, damn it. Well, I was doing a lot of stuff with lifting my arms over my head, and I'm not used to that. And that was a strain.
Yeah, that can get old, having your arms above your head.
I mean, I did it for about 10 seconds, and it got old. If I had to putty like a screw that was above my head, it was like, it hurts.
Now imagine having to drywall ceiling.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine that. I think my brain will break.
Without a lift.
Yeah. Have you done that?
Mm-hmm.
Damn,
it sucks.
You're strong.
It sucks. It's not fun. You have to use your head and shoulders.
Use your head, man. Use your head and your shoulders.
Mm-hmm. It's not cool.
Were you using head and shoulders at the time?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. That would have been perfect. I don't know. So, yeah.
I don't know. Don't look at me that way.
I'm sorry. So you don't want to repeat that. That's why we're going to pay someone to do it.
No, I'm just saying, I was just saying.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about it being hard to have your hands above your head.
Yeah.
For prolonged periods of time.
Yeah.
Imagine having your hands above your head plus a sheet of drywall.
How much do you think they weigh? Like a, not obviously those big ones like the way they come, but a panel that you might do
at the time we were doing 1/2 inch. This is super interesting podcast stuff.
We can move on, but I just want to know, how much weight do you think you're holding over your head?
I don't know. I don't think it's that much. It's just very big
It's
and
cumbersome.
yeah,
Unwieldy.
and the half-inch stuff. It not only is it big, but you have to be careful not to break it.
Oh, what do we have? 3/8 or something?
5/8.
That's more than a half inch.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was like heavy. Okay, never mind.
No, it was thinner
Gotcha.
and flimsier, more breakable, brittle, but not brittle. Same brittleness.
I got it. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I'm sure it's circusing.
You're sure? All right, well, let's move on to something a little more enjoyable. I just wanted the people to know that we were
And I
working
know
hard.
it's short circuiting. I just wanted
He
to
does
say
know.
short
I
circusing.
can vouch for him.
Yeah. I'm not.
Because it was a meme or something. Wasn't it? Or you just love the circus?
It was. I don't know. It was a meme. It doesn't matter.
That's my thinking music these days.
I hate circus music.
I think that my ex and I really loved this trailer for, it's not Zootopia. What was the one with Ben Stiller?
Oh,
Africatopia?
Madagascar.
Yeah. And Chris Rock plays like, what does he play? Like an antelope or something?
He plays a zebra.
Oh, close. But he's got like a...
And the guy from Friends, what's his name?
David
The
Schwimmer?
long guy, the tall guy.
pivot.
He plays a giraffe, I think.
He's a long, tall guy?
Isn't he a tall guy?
Long and
isn't
tall
he
is the way you...
Isn't he taller than everyone
I think
else
he is.
in the show?
But it was just like funny the way you were... I was like, am I thinking of the... I think, isn't Chandler kind of tall? Whatever his real name is, I don't care or know.
I thought him and the other guy are shorter than...
It could be.
It doesn't matter.
I think
anyway,
David Schwimmer just has a presence that towers over the rest. Maybe that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, could be. David Schwimmer is...
Just call him by his, most famous thing now. Pivot guy.
Pivot guy.
Pivot.
I don't think it's going to pivot anymore.
That was so good. How did we get here? Oh,
We're really gibberishing.
no, listen.
This is not...
Listen to me. So there was like a preview of it, and Chris Rock playing the zebra had like a rainbow, like clown afro thing, and he was singing like Afro Circus, Afro Circus, Afro Circus, and it was just like we got it stuck in our head, and it was really annoying. But then it became like we loved it, and now I think that's what I associate when I think of that music is not like creepy circus clowns and creepy
And your mom
circus
was
general.
fantasizing about strangling you both.
I don't think we were hanging around her that time.
Oh.
At that point.
Oh,
yeah, she
okay.
probably would have. Anyway, so it brings me joy to sing that song.
Oh gosh.
But it's my thinking music. It's like, maybe some
It's your
people have
thinking
Jeopardy
music?
music or something,
I don't have thinking music.
I didn't used to, but it can come
You
in
have
handy.
music that goes through your head while you're thinking
Now
of things?
I do. Now it's that. It used
you
to be
really?
that I would do
Are
things
you-
like I
are
would
you
click
just-
my mouth, like if I was thinking I'd be, or I'd just do like annoying mouth sounds.
I have
and
never
now-
heard you hum circus music while you're thinking.
I think you
Or ever.
called me on it last episode actually, because you were like, "Is that the circus music?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," because I was trying to like
What?
remember something.
What?
Yeah, but
this is all news to me. I don't
you
remember.
were there.
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm gonna play you the last episode. I'm gonna go back and find that.
Maybe I just thought you were like, I don't
Short
know,
circusing?
doing like a
Oh.
bit or something that didn't really make sense.
No, and I think ever since you did the animation with the clown noise, that also brings me a lot of joy. And because you did it really well, where the music is kind of softly, very subtly playing in the background, and it just brings me so much joy, especially when you turn into a monkey because you couldn't quite get the clown sound that I excelled at.
You did do a good clown sound. Can you give us another one? Can you give us another clown sound once you've taken a drink? Okay.
Let me lubricate
Go
my
for it.
instrument. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it because now it's going to be the monkey because I have the monkey in my head.
Think of a clown honking sound.
Fuck!
Now you're doing the monkey sound.
Yeah, you did it. That was perfect. That was a perfect clown noise. Were you trying to do monkey? See, when you try to do monkey, you do
No,
clown.
I was trying to do clown.
Oh, all right. Mission accomplished, sir.
I was trying to do
Can you do it again? Don't think about it. Just do it.
It's not very good though.
I wish I hadn't been talking over the last one because I think
can't-
you nailed it.
Because I think some people can exhale and inhale doing the sound. Yeah, like that. But I can only do exhaling.
Oh, yeah, because you can't do, like, when I do the donkey bray, you're like, how are you doing that? And it sounds really painful, or, like, you couldn't, I'm not going to do it because it's really obnoxious and it'll break people's ears, but...
Donkey noises are the worst.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting that you can't do that.
Yeah. I like inward speaking.
Trying to spare
I am a robot. Hello.
I don't think any robot in the history of...
I am a robot.
That's better.
Can you understand me?
Oh, I don't like that. It sounds
Can you understand me? I am a robot.
It sounds... You've never done that voice before.
I've never done that before.
And you shall never do it again, please, in my presence.
That's the first time I've ever done that.
Your eyes are watering.
I know, because I don't like it. That's the worst.
It's kind of horrible.
That's the worst time. That's the first time I've ever...
Freudian slip.
I've ever done that, I think.
And it was the worst time?
That was weird. I'm interested to hear what it sounds like.
Okay. You want to play it back?
No.
All right.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Let's savor it. And save it.
Savor it?
Save it. And savor it later.
Okay. So let's get to our topic of the day.
Antsy pantsy.
I think we've wasted enough.
Yeah, but this is part of our thing. People can fast forward if they don't like it, when they don't like it. So we watched a show called Wild Bill that I keep wanting to call Kill Bill, but it ain't.
Wild Bill.
I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. I finally caved and did a trial subscription, which I'm sure will become a paid because it looks like there's a fair amount of good content.
On what now?
Sorry. BritBox.
BritBox.
Which is through, like, Amazon. Like, it's like an extent. I just think that they're all in cahoots.
Is it all BBC stuff?
BBC? I think maybe there was some other stuff. There were movies, but they might be British. No, that movie's not British, because Knives Out was on there.
Oh, my goodness. Just a yes or no.
Fuck off. Knives Out was on there. There were other movies on there that I'm pretty sure are not on regular Amazon or even like Netflix. So I don't think it's just British stuff, unless it's like British production companies, because I don't know.
So it's not mostly British things?
It is mostly British things,
okay.
But there was a lot that I didn't explore. But I'd been holding out, and I went to look for Wild Bill on Google Play, but even then I had sworn not to buy anything else off Google Play because of the shenanigans with Resident Alien, where for weeks they were not loading any new episodes, and there were just reviews and reviews about don't buy this shit from Google Play. I was able to watch it on the Sci-Fi. Someone said I was able to watch it on the Sci-Fi Network online before. And you can buy the whole season, even though obviously it hasn't been released. But I've done that before with Google Play, and then they release it every week, and it comes out like a day after the episode airs. But for several weeks there was only one episode, and people were pissed. Mm-hmm. So I think they finally got the message, and now there's like 4 or maybe at this point 5. I think there's just 4 episodes released of Resident Alien. But my point is, I was waiting to see if it was going to be on any other streaming platforms, and it wasn't.
You're speaking kind of quiet, I think. Sorry to interrupt you.
I'll levelate it. It's fine.
Okay.
So finally I subscribed to BritBox, which is, it's through Amazon. Looks like there's a bunch of good stuff. Red Dwarf's on there, although I think it's only one season. But Wild Bill is with Rob Lowe. I think it came out in 2019. It looked really funny because he's super sarcastic, and I don't usually get attracted to things that Rob Lowe does.
He's not usually a snarky character, is he?
I don't think so. I think he can be. I think he was on West Wing. I never watched that show.
I don't know if I've ever watched anything he's in. What is the most popular
Parks
thing?
and Rec? Maybe?
I didn't watch that. I mean, I kind of tried a couple episodes.
You weren't into like the main character.
The main character I was not into.
Well, I remember him, of course, from Wayne's World. He was great in that as a slimy, kind of posh agent kind of guy.
Oh.
And I think kind of screws them over. He takes over their show, and but I hadn't really. He's just kind of there in my periphery as someone who's kind of a pretty face, but I just really kept seeing these ads for Wild Bill, and so I finally just, subscribed to BritBox, and we watched. And there's only 6 episodes, unfortunately. I thought that they initially made them 6 episodes. British shows, a lot of times they just have these short runs, but they're better. They're better that way.
They don't beat the show into the ground.
Yeah. But in this case, I think they did plan on doing more, and then it got canceled or it didn't get renewed.
Which is too bad because a little bit of a spoiler about Wild Bill, but there is no resolve.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, there are on small cases,
Yeah.
but there's no.
On the
there's
overarching. Is that how you say that word?
I don't know.
Overarching.
I think overarching.
Storyline. It doesn't get resolved. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no resolve.
I was kind of okay with it because you kind of knew, from the first episode, I think, that there was this kind of villain, kind of overseeing all the other villainy in the show. But I think within each episode, they resolve stuff, so I was okay with it. And it might be a good thing in the long run that it didn't get renewed, because it would have been like kind of beating a dead horse, beating a show into the ground. But it just sucks if it's not planned that way.
It started getting a little weird toward the end. Like, some of Rob Lowe's lines and the way he was delivering them were a little strange.
Maybe the writing was a little bit...
Yeah, it started to get a little weird.
I think some stuff struck you as weird, and like it struck me as weird, but it didn't bug me as much. I think sometimes just different things kind of resonate differently with us.
Just like line delivery and just certain kind of awkward feeling things where it's like, that doesn't feel natural, and it sticks out to me. Yeah. It's like that skit when those two comedians were switching places as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Mitchell and Webb or whatever.
Yeah, Mitchell and Webb, when they were just switching places because they each, both of them wanted to be Holmes.
Yeah.
So it was like that. It just pulled you out of the story a little bit. Whenever there's some kind of weirdness to acting, I can't explain myself.
I think that's universal. Like you
get pulled out of the story.
You get pulled in because there's like, it builds a world that feels real and natural, and that's what makes a good show. And then, if you have these little moments where it's like, that is inconsistent with that person's character, I'm not buying into it anymore.
Yeah.
And you're jerked out. Or if a line is delivered weird, or just like, I know that one line, I don't remember what it was. It was some quote unquote comeback. And it was like, what?
Yeah. It felt just awkward and like, was that a zinger?
Unnecessary. It wasn't.
It was a Wizard of Oz reference.
It's not a zinger if you have to ask if it's a zinger.
Yes. Yeah. But it was a Wizard of Oz reference, which is like, I think I said, there's no punch to that. Mm-hmm. There's no punch to a comeback about the fucking Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I think
there's no wizard behind that curtain.
I don't know if it was a comeback as just a commentary on, you're not a wizard. There's just bad people back there pulling the strings.
It was weird.
It was unnecessary.
And another spoiler, like the character change of that woman whose barn they were investigating. Mm-hmm. She was such an asshole, such a bitch through the entire episode.
Yeah.
And then she like becomes vulnerable in this one point, and she's just like completely does a 180.
It's like she has a mental illness. It's the only way you could buy a character flip of that kind, a behavior flip, is like, she's unstable, she's schizophrenic, she's bipolar, because she was so consistently like a tough older lady.
Very rude.
Tough. Yeah, definitely like past tough, just like she was a hard ass bitch.
Yeah, not just a tough woman. She was a bitch.
Firearms at them, and it's like, they're the police.
Oh yeah, talking shit, talking tons of shit.
Yeah. So we should probably back up a little bit and just give the basic premise, which is Rob Lowe, you find out, so just be aware, spoilers.
Yes.
You find out why, but in the beginning of the show, he's relocating with his daughter, Kelsey? Yeah, I think so. She's like 14. They're from, I think they were living in Florida. They established that they moved around a lot. His wife has died. You don't know how, but it's fairly recent, like in the last year or two, maybe. And they moved to England, to like a northern kind of out in the beefy,
countryside.
But they have like the highest crime rate, and it's called Boston. The town is called Boston.
Yeah, and I was confused at the beginning about that. It's like Rob Lowe asked, like, how far is it from London to Boston?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about here?
I think you must have, like, because you were kind of half working, and then they had a little bit laid the groundwork, I think, knowing that, like, oh, we're going to do this clever thing.
Is a town in,
yeah. And then, like, I think when you kind of clued in a little more, they said that name, and you were like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, it's a town in England.
I was like, how do you drive there?
So he's like, not like a chief, but he's like some other, I forget what he's called. He's not a commissioner, but maybe he's the chief. And he's basically, they brought him in to kind of clean up, help their stats. And then you find out, get rid of people is his agenda, save money for the
he has to cut 600 jobs.
Yeah. But he's very snarky. He's obviously, what's cool is that, like, so probably a lot of people know there can be this very British superiority coming from us being a colony and kind of, redheaded stepchildren or something. There's just a superiority that English people can have.
We're a younger country.
Yeah. They look down on us, even, anyway. So they kind of...
What were you going to say?
So, and I have an English ex, and I've lived there for a year, so, had a lot of just dealings myself with in-laws and, just getting that, they can't wait. Like so many countries in the world that you go to visit, they can't wait to tell you what's wrong with America. And it's partly because we're like the superpower or the number one for the moment. And everyone has their turn, and then it's always like changing. There's going to be a change.
There was a time when the UK was in charge of everything and fucking everybody up.
Yes.
So
exactly, but they definitely. What is cool is that they're giving him shit about being American. They're giving him shit. They're wearing cowboy hats or making fun of Southern accents, and he's just giving it right back and just giving them zingers. And that's like when he does a non-zinger, you're like, that's out of character, because he's always just ready. And he just cuts him down. He's like, first of all, I don't come from Texas, and that's not even a good accent, but he says it like very cleverly. And I graduated from UCLA, and I got my master's at, I don't know. So
Yale.
I actually wrote it down. Yale, yeah. So it's basically like, you people are a mess. I'm coming here to clean you up. Don't give me that shit, But he doesn't even phrase it like that. He's just always cutting him down, which is just so fun. And they're giving it back to him. Like, they're definitely, it's two ways. It goes both ways.
They were giving it to him first. His responses were all responses.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it felt good. It
felt good,
yeah, fuck you guys.
And
being
they're just,
a bunch of assholes.
knowing that there just is that British sarcasm, which is so fun to watch, but when it's directed at you, it's not fun, and then just to have him giving it right back, it felt really good.
And maybe that's why it didn't do so well in England.
I think people enjoy it. I think it did really well when it first came out. I don't know what good numbers are, but I think it said like 5 or 7 million viewers. And then when it ended, it was down to like 3 something. And that's why they decided not to renew it. And who knows about timing? Like, political stuff was super at its height, but it did the storyline and his evolution, kind of becoming a less sarcastic, more empathetic character, which you kind of want to see, but it was a little bit maybe too far
soon
and too fast. Like, you want him to have his edge, begin to get to know them, have some empathy, but still have that edge, because that is what drew everyone in. Is the trailers, weren't of him, hugging people or getting to know people. That's not, what drew you in was him saying, you don't have a DNA sequencer, and no, they say no, and he says, well, it's just very common where I come from. Oh, America? No, the 21st century. And it's just like, bam,
Being snarky.
Yeah. And then he's given his initial kind of speech to the troops about why he's here and what his credentials are, and talking about statistics and, I think algorithms and stuff like that. And one of the
one of the officers pipes up.
Yeah, and he says, policing isn't about numbers. And he points to him, he says, I'm almost glad you said that. And it was just so fucking snarky, and you're just like, oh.
Well, because he said it in a sassy way.
Yeah, it was like, I'm telling you. And he's like, Rob Lowe's like, I'm here, I'm in the position I'm in, which is not a grunt. I'm at the top of my game, I've been brought in to clean up your mess for a reason. Mm-hmm. Don't fucking tell me, I'll tell you. And he says, it's all about the numbers. Which I don't know is true, but it's just like, I'm smarter than you. Without saying that. I'm fucking smarter than you, But it's just partly because of their superior attitude, even when they're dumber than him and, yeah. So it's just, I don't know, what do you have thoughts about it? What are your thoughts about it?
Well said. About what now?
In general, do you have things to add? Like, what was your favorite?
I thought that was good to see, because I know a lot of people look down on Americans, pretty much everywhere, in some way. Because you have the stereotypes, and I get it. I get why they look down on us, because we have cures and we have,
Yeah, but even before
people of Walmart.
That, I mean,
basically,
people are loud. I remember being on a train in England, and there was an American guy, and there's a lot of Americans who work for English companies, or they have American companies over there, and they come over. I mean, I worked for a law firm that was an American law firm. It was actually a Texas-based law firm, but they had an office in London, and I worked in the office in London. And you had Americans who were living there who would kind of come, and they'd kind of rotate. But this guy was on a train with his...
And he was American?
Yeah, he was American, and he was with his kind of English colleague who I think was like kind of chaperoning him around, and he was just so fucking loud. Mm-hmm. And everyone in the train, unless it's like a Friday night maybe, they're just quiet. There's not that kind of ostentatious, like, out there voice, like, you're not drawing attention to yourself.
Well,
and Americans
have an ooga booga kind of like beat my chest,
yeah,
stick my nuts in your face kind of attitude. And it's just kind of like, you can't just shut up and like sit down. Yeah. No.
And I think a lot of Americans, though, are also very friendly, and they just strike up conversations with people, and they don't really do that in England. Like, and in London, everyone's just working. They're just taking the train to get home or get to work. Mm-hmm. You don't really just strike up conversations with people. Partly because it's like, if I'm on the train for a half hour or an hour, I don't want to get stuck in a conversation with you. It's just like being on an airplane. You got to be careful who you strike up a conversation with. And the polite thing is, you just kind of like, don't make a lot of eye contact. Like, it was just, he just stood out, and I was like so embarrassed because they're quick to jump on that. And it's not all Americans, but it is a stereotype. And so when you have a guy who's living that stereotype and like, making it like, here's the reason, you're just like, you want to sink into your seat and just be like, I'm Canadian, or I'm nothing. Just, I'm not with this guy, and I just wanted to be like, just shut up. Just keep your voice a little lower. You can have a conversation without the whole carriage having to hear about it.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to beat your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, and also the thing is...
Did I say ooga booga or unga boonga?
You said ooga booga, which I don't know what that is, but I got what you were saying.
I was thinking like,
Yeah.
Like beating your chest.
Totally.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you conveyed that.
Yeah, there's a video of Japanese people talking about cures. Mm-hmm. And, the far right. And some of them had mentioned, or one of them had mentioned, how Americans, I don't remember how she phrased it, but we put a lot of importance on freedom of, rights and mm-hmm. the individual. And there's no like sort of, we're a team. It's all me. Mm-hmm. And even in like movies and stuff, Captain America, mm-hmm. and it's all me. Mm-hmm. So,
but he is part of the Avengers.
That's true. I'm just saying there's a big importance on like individual.
Yeah.
The individual.
It's part of our culture. I mean, it's part of what set us apart. And I don't know exactly where that started.
It also kind of doesn't help us.
Mm-hmm. I think there's like a middle ground because I think you have a lot of British people or just English people who don't think
they
it's
have
okay.
trouble standing out.
Yeah, but like if you stand up and say, "Oh, I did this today. I accomplished this," and people will be like, "So, why are you special? Sit down."
Yeah.
And it's like, in America, like I think other English people or maybe even comedians have said this. It's actually what can be really nice about Americans is they'll be like, "Good job, great for you. You can do anything you put your mind to." There's a middle ground because you really can't. Like you need to know your limitations.
That's true.
It's like giving kids trophies for second, third, fourth, or just participation trophies. That's the extreme example of American. Or you can do anything.
Or a very dumb man being loud and acting and being fat, loud, ugly, stupid, and being like the most prideful person.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you get this pride?
Mm-hmm.
I see guys like that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, you're fat, you're dumb, you're ugly. What the fuck? Where is this pride coming from?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think the flip side, which is I think not good, is that maybe you have super brilliant English people or people from other countries who don't stand up and speak loudly, or maybe they don't have to.
That's true.
But so I definitely think, like with anything, there's a middle ground. And I definitely get embarrassed by Americans. Like, why do you feel that everyone in this car, carriage, whatever they call it, needs to hear you?
Uh-huh. About your business ventures or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
how successful you are. Yeah, my BMW back home. Yeah, I got a garage with 7 cars in it and a big house. And
he wasn't even being boastful. He was just being loud. We don't need to hear. And maybe that's what made it worse. Is maybe if he was talking about his 7 BMWs or 7 Lamborghinis, like we would have been like, ooh, what an asshole. But I actually want to hear more. But it was just like,
as if.
Who are you?
As if you'd want to hear more.
But it was just he was just like a mundane guy. Day, a guy coming over for a business trip, and it was like,
maybe he has bad hearing or
and
tinnitus.
Everyone's tired. I didn't get that impression. And his colleague, the poor guy who's having to chaperone him, is just talking like in low tones, like probably trying to set an example.
Normal volume.
And the guy's just and it was like, my God, man, I don't think he had a hearing problem. Because he wouldn't have been able to hear the guy, but he probably couldn't over his own talking anyway. But it was just, I just always remember that. And I used to get mad at my ex because he would call me knowing I was going to be on the train. And I'd be like, don't call me, just text me. Because I'd pick up, because as soon as you start talking,
I think everyone
knows that you're American.
Remember, they might think you're Canadian. You could just do a little bit of some of this,
I couldn't. But I'd be like, I'm just getting on the train in London, so if you could pick me up in 40 minutes, or whatever. Or I'll be like, I'll call you when I'm just about to enter the station.
But he would always do that. He would always call you. I think it was just a thing that he would call you.
Yeah.
Even though you were like, text me.
I think it was partly especially because I didn't like it. It was like, it was just that kind of personality. But it was like, I hated drawing attention to myself because of that. It's just like, as soon as you start talking, people... And there are people who are interested, but there are also people who are like, ugh, fucking Americans, It's like, you don't fucking know me. I mean, I was reading David Copperfield.
Especially the people that don't travel, especially the people that are landlocked and, town locked. Those are the kind of people that are going to be like, ugh, fucking American. But people who have traveled, I think, are more tolerant.
You talk over me because you're annoyed that I'm interrupting, but I'm telling you that I think you're wrong. I disagree with you.
Well, you could have let me finish my thought first.
But I could tell that the first part of the thought was erroneous.
Good God. Okay, well then go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Okay. Well.
Oh my God. I'm gonna.
No, I think it was the people who. I'm
gonna friggin'
I'm sorry.
Scissor kick you.
What does that look like? What does a scissor kick look like?
Guess.
But how do you do it? How do you execute it?
I think it's
you
usually
come at me from the side.
It's usually done on the ground, and you use your legs like a scissor, and that like trips the person or knocks them down.
Okay. So you need me to stand up first? Mm-hmm. Okay. After this. We'll do it after?
Yeah, if you want me to scissor kick you, which I will happily oblige.
I just want you to feel like maybe there's justice and then it'll give us some equilibrium back into this relationship. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. What I was going to say is I felt like the people who didn't travel were actually more excited to meet Americans. I felt like the people who did travel and like the Londoners who worked in big companies were like, maybe because there were a lot of Americans already in their dealings, but I felt like they were the more snobby ones.
Interesting.
I mean, I was reading The Portrait of Dorian Gray. And I was reading it because every once in a while I will try to read like a piece of, classical literature. And a lot of times they're boring, but sometimes they're not. It was okay. I wasn't trying to look smart. And this group of people just started like in on me, kind of like asking and just like, well, first they were kind of mumbling about me like, yeah, and I'm like, you fucking assholes. And I just felt like it wasn't just this group.
That's when you just walk over to them a little bit and just cut a fucking fart.
I wish I could fart on command because it would be so handy.
Cut the most heinous fart.
Yeah. I just ate a pork roast or something, or pork loin, some kind of pork product.
Did you?
No, that's what I would want to say.
Oh, okay.
And I just let one, and now I'm leaving. I'm going into the next carriage.
I don't think you'd need to say it. I think you'd want them to breathe it in for a minute.
You're right.
Before finding out.
Yeah.
She fucking farted and walked away.
But it was just like, it was sort of representative of the culture and just that attitude of like, how dare you try to better yourself or be, I don't know, like, I don't know anyone, well, I probably would know people, maybe back in college, I don't know, who would read a book because they're trying to impress people that they don't know on a train. But that was like the assumption. And I was like, fuck, I'm actually reading a book by one of your people, I think. I mean, what the fuck is his name? Can't think of his name.
Just seems kind of petty.
It was just, maybe it was a Friday night. Maybe they've been drinking. But it was like, damn, you guys are like, hyenas
Lay off,
on a
you
dying
bunch of bitches.
Gazelle.
Yeah.
And I'm the dying gazelle, but I'm alive. It was just like left a bad taste in my mouth. And I would just never have those comebacks. That's when I needed Rob Lowe energy, Wild Bill energy. Mm-hmm. I would have just cut them down. But I do like the fart idea.
I mean, you shouldn't have to defend yourself. Like why?
Well, and how brave are you? I'm sitting alone, quietly, reading my book. I'm all alone on a train. And there's like 5 of you. Mm-hmm. And you're just ripping on me, And it wasn't like,
I'm sorry my
ripping,
book intimidates you.
Yeah.
With words in it.
Yeah. I mean, one of them was like, oh, I read it, I didn't care for it. And I was like, just wanted to know what it was all about. But it was like...
Did you even ask them? You could have said, did I ask you your opinion?
Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me. I mean, maybe you should have given her...
I'm sitting in a corner seat by the window next to these 5 other people. It's a crowded train. Like, there's not a lot of... in the evening, like some of the trains, there were not a lot of other seats.
You don't have to be judging the people around you.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh, her shoes are fucking ugly.
Yeah.
What kind of an idiot would wear those shoes? Who does that?
Yeah. Well, obviously they were highly insecure, but it was also, it just felt like that was maybe something that was kind of common in that country.
Did you experience more of that when you were there?
Yeah, but it was kind of like that in Spain too. That's why I think because America's kind of still top dog. I mean, they're like the number 1 superpower kind of, or do we even use that term?
But
I don't know.
They may not. Did they know you were American on the train?
Maybe when I started talking, because I did talk to them, and then I think that probably just made it worse. But I've had Spanish people, they couldn't wait to talk to us about guns.
Yep.
And one of my ex's in-laws, my ex's brother's in-laws, couldn't wait to rip on the healthcare system. And I'm like, I don't fucking like it either, but I'm sitting here, I'm a captive audience at dinner, trying to be polite, and you're just insulting me. Not insulting me, but insulting my, like, why do we need to talk about this? I think everyone knows that it's a fucked up system. Well, I don't have a brain. I don't know.
Well, and I mean...
Why do we need to be talking about this? Can we talk about something else? I'm the minority at this table. It's just fucking rude.
Well, and the UK has its shortcomings.
Very rude people.
The UK has its shortcomings.
They're just
like any country.
Yes. But they just can be very rude, superior people.
Wow.
And it's partly just ingrained because of their history of being on top for so long, conquering nations. We're a strong island. We're a small nation that ruled the world. I mean, the amount of times I had heard that.
They did a lot of damage to the world.
Yeah.
They fucked the world.
Well, basically. And then they stopped, they stopped like slavery, and then but they don't want us to have our fun. I'm just kidding. But
whoa.
I'm kidding. But not the slavery thing, but some of the other things, it's like, oh, now we're in that position, and we won't be forever. But
we're in what position?
The top dog, superpower. But I do think a little bit is a resentment. It's like your redheaded stepchild, surpassing you and beating your, score, your score on record, Pac-Man, whatever, and like you didn't like the kid to begin with, and now they're making you look like a schmuck. It's kind of like that. Except arguably, I mean, we look like the schmuck because we had Donald Trump as a president. But anyway, my point is there's just a superiority, Johnson, and it's not everyone.
But at least he can string together a coherent.
Yeah, he can. He's extremely educated. He might be a bit of a buffoon, but he is educated. And there's a reason he is in, that high politics.
But what is the deal with our leader's hair? What is the deal with all leaders' hair? I mean, Kim Jong-un has like a flat top, right? Or no, was that ill?
I don't know.
That was ill, I think. And
maybe we
got Trump and his hair animal.
It's not a real animal, right? I think you need to separate from the spitting image world. I think you've gotten too deep into that. You could start a conspiracy theory. They're easy to start. They're easy to propagate, perpetuate, disseminate.
You do it.
I bet you could get people to believe that his hair is alive. Do it.
No, because it would be the wrong kind of people.
You're right.
You need the cures and the people that believe Democrats are lizard people that eat babies and worship Satan. You need those people.
And it's something we're supposed to be against. I think, that conspiracy theory shit. So we probably shouldn't become a part of it.
No, I think you should do it.
Yeah. Too much work. I've worked hard today. I don't want to do anything else.
Well, you don't have to do it today. You can do it tomorrow.
No, it's today or never. Holy shit. Anyway, we have really gone far afield from our original topic. But fucking snobby-ass Brits, am I right?
Wow. No, racist.
Here's the thing.
Is that racist?
Nah, because they're white, mostly.
Xenophobic. Is that xenophobic?
I don't think so, because it's just British people.
Hey, but at the same time, they're very nice people.
That's just, like the ugly American stereotype, that's to me the ugly Brit stereotype. It's not all British people. It's just the ones that stand out. There were plenty of very nice English people, British people, whatever. But yeah, it's just that. Anyway, that was a huge part of this show. Is just, and what was so satisfying is just, oh yes, just cut them down.
Well, and I think you got some satisfaction out of it because they were in the country. So they weren't like well-educated, your typical maybe like Londoner. They were like, weren't they all Cockney basically?
No, they were in the north. Cockney's like I think East or South London, East London kind of thing.
Oh.
So they were like in the north of England.
But like simple folk is my point.
Yeah, I think
so they were
more
like
satisfying when they're educated, snotty Londoners. Because they're well traveled, and there's some very intelligent people because they're so close to so many countries. They're very aware of politics and current events, and
and we don't know anything about anything. So
Yeah.
that's a stereotype that is correct.
Yeah.
Americans don't know jack shit about anything else that's going on in the world unless they have like a job related to it.
Yeah. I mean, that is a generalization, but anyway.
It's true though. Like, I mean, Americans don't know the difference between Scottish and Irish or Japanese and Chinese. I mean, we don't know simple basic shit. And at the same time, you know, the rest of the world knows what leaders are, you know.
But think about that. We have 50 states. We're trying to tell the difference between Iowans and Wisconsins. Like, it's hard, you know. So how do you expect us to know the difference between Japanese and Chinese and
We
British,
don't even
Scottish,
know
Irish,
who
and
our own
Welsh?
people are.
Exactly. But it is kind of like that. I mean, we're like, you know, maybe we're like the size of the European Union or the European Union and whoever else, you know, parts of Asia. Like, there's a lot of our own weird cultural and just like topographical, you know, cultural, political, like
I think
agricultural versus urban.
I think
you know.
our education system just really sucks.
That too.
That and just
So give us a break. Don't make fun of us. Jesus Christ. So it was nice to have an educated representative in the Rob Lowe character. Just like, you know, but they definitely resented him coming in. And partly because you find out, he's supposed to cut 600 jobs. And you're like, how big is this police
But he's
department?
also cutting redundancies. So he's cutting people that just, you know, are basically just leeching off of.
But 600 people is a lot of people. When you have the highest crime rate in the country, maybe that's not
Maybe
your
they
priority.
expected it to be a really long show.
Yeah, could be. Well, and then he comes up with a scheme that is like, you know, here's an alternative to cutting all these jobs. So that's when you start. Anyway.
And it made sense, but the guy in charge, spoiler, guy in charge is, or the chief or whatever is
I forget.
obviously in cahoots with the main baddie.
Yeah. And we the baddies. He's definitely the baddie.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely the baddie. He's a
And of course
sack
he's
of
Russian.
shit. Oh, I was talking about the chief.
Oh, yeah, that
chief.
guy too. Yeah, he plays a
both
really
baddies.
hateable character. I forget what that guy's name is, but he's got like a really pointy nose. Gosh, kind of a snide face. Because he plays like the chief. I think he plays a police guy a lot. He plays the chief in Sherlock. And he like comes down on Lestrade for using Sherlock somewhat. And he's just got, unfortunately, kind of a really irritating northern accent. It might be like, I don't think it's Birmingham, but
no offense to anyone in Birmingham. Birmingham, if they listen.
Yeah.
Maybe don't say stuff like that.
It's kind of an obnoxious accent. It can be. But so can a nasal yank, like myself. So I'm just, you know, birds of a feather, schmuck to blether.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Me neither. So, oops. My favorite insult of Rob Lowe's.
Yes. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, you already know what it is, but good pretending. Good
I don't
acting.
know if I remember.
Is he tells his daughter's principal, you know, I don't blame you. Oh, because she's like talking about suspending, or they suspend his daughter because she got involved with something. I forget what it was. And he says, I don't blame you. You're just a brochure in human form. Oh, burn, baby, burn. It was so good. I thought that I'm going to use that. I wouldn't because I'm too nice. Says.
And who
the girl
would you
who's
use
dissing
it on?
Yeah.
You'd use it on somebody in an administrative type job.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean,
I'd have to go somewhere where there's more of those. Where was I recently? Wasn't I dealing with something like that? Bureaucratic? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who I'd use it on, but I'm keeping it. I'm tucking it like a brochure into my back pocket.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull it out. I could change it from brochure to something else, you know. I think anything. I think you could make a lot of things work with that. But that was my favorite.
I mean, it's similar to like the expression, you're the is it an expression? The words, you're the epitome of, you know, insert.
Something mean.
Yeah.
Something unpleasant. Rotten vegetables.
Or when you look up in the dictionary, there's a picture of you.
Yeah. something population U. Yeah. I think this one's better.
Stupid person population U.
You'd be Stupidsville.
That doesn't. Yeah, it has to be a place.
Good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought so. 6 episodes. I kind of could go back and watch it again because I do just love police thriller, murder mystery in a kind of remote, villagey, and the countryside is quite beautiful. And the houses.
Yeah, like what's that?
There's some cottages.
What's that show? With David Tennant.
Broadchurch?
Broadchurch.
Yeah.
It was a bit Broadchurchy.
Yeah, it was a bit. The sarcasm for sure. Just the kind of acerbic wit.
Yeah, cold. Just,
But you just you want to be like him because you want to just tell people to fuck off. Basically.
I think the show would have done better if not in Broadchurch, but in gosh, I'm forgetting all the names.
Broadchurch is
shows.
perfect. Just to be clear, Broadchurch is perfect. Don't change a thing. At least for the first 2 seasons. I never watched the third. Just for the record.
If he had not softened up, I think the show would have been more likable.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think maybe you had said that earlier.
That might be what killed it.
It could be.
I mean, it's got to be hard because I think that for the most part,
people like drama. They don't like nicey nice shit. I mean, that's why all of this garbage stays on TV because people love drama.
Yeah.
Fighting,
but it was also
arguing.
Somewhat refreshing. It was refreshing to have a smart American come over. But, I also really liked his... Was she a sergeant? I can't talk. I don't know police ranking.
Was he a sergeant?
No, the redheaded
Trumpish
girl.
Her name started with an M, right?
Muriel. Yardsley. She was amazing. And I loved... And this shouldn't even be like a thing, but I love that she was quite a large girl, but she was kind of like the second main police character.
And she played a similar role. Oh my God, I can't speak. She played a similar role to the woman Ellie? In Broadchurch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just kind of like the straight guy type.
Yeah. But also, like, she had her funny moments because she would be kind of an awkward, comforting someone and kind of being, like, in awkward positions, but also super tough, super smart, super dogged in her police work. Like, obviously a rising star, worried about getting laid off, but clearly not going to have a problem because he's paying attention to her and, like, kind of grooming her to be, an excellent officer. And she's just really likable, but she's, like, a farm girl, so she has, like, knowledge of tractors and...
life
accounts,
experience.
When they have to look at the accounts of a farm to see if there's anything dodgy about it.
It blows my mind that in one of the early episodes, he had put her on the list for redundancies. And it's like she does her job well, and she's always on top of everything. Any scene she's in, she's on top of it. So it's like, how would she possibly end up on that list? So
a lot of times I have to go back and watch things again to catch things I didn't catch before. And I think that he fesses up to leaking those names to incentivize people. So I think kind of maybe everyone was put on that list.
Oh.
And he wanted people to see it to make them scared and get them off their asses. Well, she was always diligent.
Yeah, so it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, but it was just cool that... I don't know. I just really like that character because sometimes you have kind of like the second in command character or and she wasn't, slim or she's got a pretty face, but she wasn't the kind of, stereotypical hotshot upcoming
Hollywood
yeah,
female.
She was just like a real girl and you just liked her, and maybe it's not realistic that she would be so awesome, but I really liked her a lot.
I don't know about that.
I just don't know how anyone wouldn't have the energy to know all the stuff she knows. But but she's clearly flawed.
Well, she
she's
knows
in a hard
farm
position.
stuff because she, she
but I think
grew up on a farm and she knew Polish because
that's right.
A lot of the workers were farmers.
Yeah,
Oh my God, a lot of the workers were Polish.
Makes me want a Polish dog. So yeah, really, there's some really good characters in the show, and he develops a love interest with the judge, who is a woman, an actress. I should probably have, some people are really
who is a woman.
Shut up. But she was on like the Bletchley Circle, and she was in something else I saw the other day, and she's got this really sexy low voice, but okay. No, I'm not like wanting to get with her. Just like, I don't want her. I want to be her. No, not really. But a little bit. I think a lot of good characters, even some of them, obviously very hateful characters. But I really liked the show. It did kind of, I don't want to say go south. It did kind of maybe get a little watered down or something. Got a little weird. Yeah. But I would still recommend it, especially if you already have BritBox, or I think it's like $6.99 a month if you can afford it, or do the trial and watch it and then cancel it. These people are making plenty of money. I don't feel bad saying that. I think it was really enjoyable, at least for the first half of the season. But even the rest of it, you kind of do get invested in the characters. I'm a little sad they're not making more, but I'm also kind of okay with it. But I overall would recommend it. What I think I would give it, I don't know. I mean, compared to some other police dramas that are out there that are really sophisticated, it wasn't. So I'd say overall, I'd probably give it like 3 stars. But in terms of what
out of
5.
Huh.
Did we do 10 stars or 5 stars last time? Maybe we did 10. Okay, that gives me a little more leeway. I would probably give it, I guess, 6 or a 7, maybe a 6.5. Like overall, for the Rob Lowe part, the stuff that I really wanted it for, the wit, the comebacks, like the humor part, at least for the first half of the season, I would probably like push it more to an 8. But anyway, what do you think?
I would probably put it in the same spot. It was good. Maybe a 7. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It was good.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add?
No. Nothing I can think of.
One thing I wanted to say is that I think we talked about was that it was maybe a little confused about what kind of genre it wanted to be. Like, whether it wanted to be kind of a police thriller with some humor, or more of a humorous, fish out of water type story with police drama kind of as a secondary thing.
It felt a little bit like Morse.
Why did I just suddenly forget? Oh, yeah, Endeavor?
Endeavor.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like Endeavor that way, where it kind of, tested the waters in sort of the jokey areas. Because, like, Thursday would make jokes, sort of, or be, like, snarky, and it was kind of a comedy at times and kind of a drama at other times.
Yeah. I think Endeavor is definitely a drama, a police drama with some humor in it. Like, it's definitely, you would not characterize it as like a comedy.
And action speckled throughout.
But I feel like maybe Wild Bill is like maybe a dark comedy or something, but not really. Not really. It's drama, but there's more humor there.
There's a decent amount of kind of gruesome stuff in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
So there's something for everyone. I wish they didn't make the daughter quite so bitchy, because you kind of liked her, but then you're like, damn, she's really being a bitch. But she is 14.
She's really hard on...
14-year-old girls are fucking bitches.
Well, also, he doesn't communicate with her. Yeah. So it's like, man, tell her that it's not okay to talk to you that way.
Right.
And, like, explain to her why you're grounding her for certain things. Like, do you want to end up dead?
Yeah.
For example, there are little girls missing in this area. Do you want to become a body in a bag?
Yeah. And like, I'm one of the top, like, police officers, so they're going to target you if.
I mean, you don't want to, like, obviously, you don't want to scar your kids, but
a little bit to get them to do what's safe.
Yeah, you want them to be safe.
To just stay home all the time. Mm-hmm. Never go out.
My mom, growing up, got to see photos of crime scenes, and I think it kind of fucked her up a little bit. I mean, little kids shouldn't be seeing that kind of stuff, but my grandpa showed that kind of stuff to her to be aware. It's like, this is not a safe place.
It's hard. It has to be hard as a parent to, like, know that line, because at some point, like, you can't know what's going to happen. You can't protect them. You don't want them to live in fear.
I think telling them is good. Yeah. Showing them pictures is another thing.
That is something that's seared into your brain forever.
Yeah. You don't want to be showing them dismembered bodies. And
like, how old do you think she was when he...
I don't know. Yeah. A child.
That's horrible. That's a bit much. So, and also probably breaching some kind of police confidentiality.
I think definitely. But it was just... it was just to to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really rough being in that line of work. Like whenever they went out together, he would have to walk separate from them, and they would get death threats. Whenever she was in the car with him, she would have to duck down. She would have to be like ducked down in the, they couldn't be seen together, basically. So pretty scary.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they make fun shows that we can watch that minimize it or trivialize it a bit. Because I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Kind of. Not really.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I think we would recommend it.
It's a good show.
Especially, I wouldn't subscribe to BritBox just for that. Or I wouldn't say that it's worth subscribing to BritBox. But there's a lot of other good content. So if you're going to do it, you might as well do it and watch it on there. Because it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't see what else is on there.
Well, let's go look.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You guys should watch it. You guys should tell us if you watched it or if you watched any other good shows, especially on BritBox since we have that now.
Yeah, give us suggestions for good shows.
Yeah, give us some engagement. Give us a little bit because,
I like comedies and stuff.
Yeah, you do like comedies. You get stressed out. Stressed out. I'm not stressed.
I do. Because they attach you to the characters.
But you get really attached. You're in an extreme empath. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's just, it's not easy for you though. Because you get attached to the red shirt guys who are the guys who are killed off to show you how serious the situation is. Crewman number 5 or whatever. I forget what was it Sam Rockwell's character was. But I died in episode 81.
He was so young.
He was so red-shirted. So innocent. So, maybe if you give us some suggestions or feedback, we'll read it out on the next episode.
Yeah.
And, we got a lot of exposure to our 38 subscribers, so you should feel pretty special. That should make you feel pretty special, pretty fucking special. I'm not complaining. Someday we'll have 1 million or 100,000 or 100.
100.
And we'll read out your stuff. And then you'll be fucking famous.
Come on, guys. Let's make it happen.
Come on, guys. Come on. All right. Like, subscribe, comment, and we love you. Yes. We don't know you, but we love you. Right?
Yes.
Do we? We know
some of you.
But we're pretty sure we love you. Hey. Okay. Bye, kids.
Bye.